Oh yeah. Hello and welcome back. So please hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet subscribed, and let's continue with the lesson. Thank you so much. So we have retrieved, we don't have any errors yet. We have retrieved some information though, but it doesn't look like it's the kind of information we need because there are 3 entries here. And they look kind of different because these first 2 have a user ID here and stuff, but this one does not. Oh, yeah, this one looks smaller than the others. So let's investigate what's going on. Now, I haven't gone through this problem behind the scenes, just so because I want us to do it together, because the point of these tutorials is to show you how to fix problems on your own. So let's go back here and look at this test ID. So this is the only test in here that has been submitted, so we should have at least just 1 entry here, but we don't. So let's look at the test ID here. It starts with V7CY. Yours will start differently, so just check on that to compare. So at least I know this is what I'm looking for. So this is correct. And let's see here. This is not correct. It's a different one. And this is correct. So there's something going on here that we are not seeing. So let's come back to mark controller. And let's see where we're going wrong here. So to start with, this is empty here. Okay. So which means at this point it doesn't have anything. So the problem must be right here. Now let's see what's going on here. So first of all, we are merging the results here, and then we're doing a for each loop. So for every class here, first of all, let's just let me just copy this data and put it here. So I'm just going to do show what the results are at the top here. That's before the page not found here, so at least we will know which part is which. So refresh. So here I get this 0, 1, and then yeah, so I get 2 tests here, okay, which is correct because this teacher made 2 tests, but of those only 1 should return a result when we read from this table. So let's see here. So this top part is correct. So let's remove that out of here. Boom. So which means this for each loop will loop twice. So what happens when it loops the first time? And there's a query, there's a there. Okay. So we are looking for a test ID, which is the same as this test ID. All right. And answered tests, yes, yes, come back here, answered tests. All right, so let's see what result we get every time. So here I'm just going to say show a. Now I need to know when this ends, so I'm just going to put show, just to put something in between. So I'm just going to say, let me put this here just to give us a separation here so that we know this is the first time it loops what it shows, and then the second time it loops what does it show. So back here, let's refresh. So this is the result for the first loop, and then wait a second. Oh, okay, wrong place. So there we go. So the first time it shows a result, the second time it doesn't, because there's an empty thing here, which is good because it only returns 1 result. So that's all good, which means things are actually working as planned. So then the problem should be here. To mark is equal to array merge. Oh, okay. So I see what mistake I have made. Let me remove this out. I'm adding data, which is this one, to this array. So I'm supposed to add itself as the array here and merge it to the new result. Okay, so let's refresh now, and there we go. So we have 1 result here, which is very awesome. So we have one test that requires marking. Now, if I come back here and change this marked to 1 instead of 0 and save that, if I come back now and refresh, by the way, if you have an earlier version of my MySQL, it might not allow you to edit directly here. You may need to click edit on the row to edit that value. Let's refresh and we see an empty array now. See, because there's nothing to mark. So let's put 0 there, click and come back and refresh. Now we have one result. So this is fantastic. Okay, so at least now we have this row. Now remember that this row doesn't have the details of the test itself. It doesn't have, let's look at what we get from data here for a second. So we're just going to do show and data. Okay, let's refresh. Now this data is for the tests themselves. You see there's a whole lot more data. There's a user name here, and there's a, what's this? Test ID, class ID, which the class information as well, the user information. So we need things like this, and then we have the description, the test name itself. So what I want is for our result here to contain a row for the actual test data. So let's see if we can have that. Now we're using tests here to query this. This is why we had a problem on the let's see here. This result has a test ID. Yes, it does. It does. So let's go back to tests model and let's see why we had a problem on line 90. This is right here. Okay, so this one was looking to get, was using the class ID to get the class details. But then it also needs to get the user, and it uses the row user ID. So let's see here. Yes, row user ID. Okay, so it actually does get the user, which is cool. I didn't notice that until now. So it does get the user row, so that's good. Now let's come back to this part and see what we need here. So we need to know what the teacher needs to know. So if the teacher has seen these tests here and wants to mark them, what they need to know is not who created the test, because they created the test. We're just showing a test that they created themselves because they're the ones that need to mark those. So they don't need to see this information. It's going to be repetitive and useless. So instead, we're going to show them the student who wrote that test. So test name is fine. The student who wrote that test, that's fine. And then whether it's active or not is irrelevant. The date of submission, which is going to be here, the date they wrote the test, right? Submitted date. So we forgot to add that there, but we'll need that. And then the percentage answered is required. So it's going to be something similar to this, but we just change here to the student name. I think that's about it. And then when they click here, they're supposed to go to start marking that particular test. Okay, so for now, the look will be something like this. So we're going to use this very template to do that. So this is tests here. So we're going to copy that and try to use it here. So save this, and actually things are okay here. Here also. So I'm going to remove this. This is on to mark controller, and we'll get that to mark. Okay, very good. Very good. Very good. Now, in the same manner, we're just going to copy all of this content up to the very end here and copy. Then let's go to the marked here and paste, because it's going to be exactly the same here. Okay. Oh, wait a second. before I copy this, one more thing. Let me undo. Let me come back here to mark. I think there's a mistake here. Yeah, the mistake is here. Admin. If I'm an admin, and to mark should contain not the tests, but the data from this table, the answered tests. So this is wrong. I should put this back to data. So data here, same as data here. Now this part should happen regardless whether we went through the admin side or we went through the other side. So let me just copy all of this up to here and actually cut it and put it down here like so. Okay, so now it's complete. So the reason I've done this is because if you're an admin, we'll get all the tests that are available on the website. If you are a teacher, we'll just get your own tests, and then we get that information and loop through it and just get those that require marking. So if you're an admin, you see all the tests that require marking on the website, and if you're a lecturer, you're just going to see your own tests that require marking. Okay, so I think this works now. Let's make sure we haven't broken anything, and to mark. Okay, no errors. Good. Now I can copy this at this point. So I want to copy all the content up to here. Then come back to marked and paste it in the middle here. Boom. Then I will change the view to marked, but leave everything else. And then I'll change to mark into marked, all the references of this. So press Ctrl D to get all references, and I will just change that to marked, and that's it. Then I will change the query here, because that's the only different part, where submitted is equal to 1 and marked is equal to 1 as well. Okay, cool. So both now have a good working controller, both the to mark and marked. The only thing we need is the view now, and that's it. The view for this will be exactly as the one for the other one. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video where we do that.